Nick Aldis just gave up his job as SmackDown General Manager, signed a contract that legally protects WWE from anything that happens to him, and then attacked Gunther first. And if you think that ended well for him, think again, because Gunther didn't just fight back, he powerbombed him straight through a table in the middle of that ring, and what happened in the minutes before that brawl might actually be even more important than the brawl itself. What's up, Tidal Wave? And if you blinked even once during this week's SmackDown, you missed one of the most unhinged authority figure moments in recent WWE memory, because Nick Aldis didn't just talk tough this time around. He physically backed it up with his own hands, and folks, let's be real, that is a genuinely bold strategy against a man who has retired Goldberg, AJ Styles, and John Cena all within the span of a single year. At some point, WWE should just start stationing a medic at ringside whenever Gunther has a contract signing. So here's the question worth sitting with before we go any further. When a general manager willingly signs away WWE's entire legal responsibility for his own physical safety before a match even happens, is that confidence talking? Or is that a man who has already quietly accepted he might not walk away from Indianapolis in one piece? Let's lay out exactly what's confirmed from this week's SmackDown, because the real footage here speaks entirely for itself. The show opened with Pearce standing alongside Nick Aldis to finalize the official terms of Aldis versus Gunther at SummerSlam. The contract made absolutely clear that once Aldis signed on the dotted line, WWE would bear zero legal responsibility for whatever happened between these two men inside that ring. And on top of that, as a direct condition of the match being made official, Aldis had to immediately relinquish his role as SmackDown General Manager, with Pearce stepping into that chair on the spot, effective immediately. Aldis signed it anyway, looking Gunther dead in the eyes while doing it, telling him that he knew exactly what he was signing up for, that he had been pushed to his absolute breaking point, and that he was fully prepared to handle this with his own hands. Gunther fired back with real venom, accusing Aldis of being jealous, of wanting a WWE career he was simply never good enough to have, despite the fact that Aldis held the NWA World Heavyweight Championship for over 1,000 days, which is the kind of resume most people in that locker room would kill for. And then, the literal second the ink dried on that contract, Aldis threw the first shot himself, igniting a full brawl that ended with Gunther lifting him and driving him straight through a table while the crowd exploded. And here's the detail most fans are going to gloss completely over, because they're too focused on that table spot. Aldis attacked first. Not Gunther. The guy who has spent the last several weeks getting choked out backstage, blindsided at ringside, and personally cost out of championship opportunities by his own opponent finally had enough, gave up his own job title to legally level the playing field, and then chose violence before Gunther even had the chance to make the first move. That is not the behavior of a desk jockey playing pretend tough guy anymore. That is a man who decided that the GM suit wasn't protecting him from anything, so he might as well stop wearing it entirely. Now, before we go any further, if you're locked into this breakdown, smash that like button and get plugged into the Tidal Wave family right now, because what this table spot actually reveals about the deeper psychology of this entire feud is where things get genuinely fascinating heading into SummerSlam. Here's the twist a lot of fans are completely missing by only focusing on who won the physical exchange in that ring. Yes, Gunther put Aldis through a table, and yes, on pure power and established wrestling credibility, Gunther wins that particular fight 9 times out of 10 without even breathing hard. But think carefully about what Aldis actually accomplished just by throwing that first punch. He proved, live and on camera in front of the entire WWE universe, that he is not scared of Gunther, that he is willing to sacrifice his own job security and his own legal protections just to get one meaningful shot in, and that he views this SummerSlam match as something genuinely worth risking absolutely everything for. A powerbomb through a table does not erase that statement. If anything, it just raises the emotional stakes even higher, because now Gunther has to actually finish the job completely at SummerSlam instead of just running his mouth about it on weekly television. Let's zero in on Gunther's psychology here for a second, because that specific line about Goldberg, AJ Styles, and John Cena wasn't just routine trash talk thrown out to get a reaction from the crowd. It was a deliberate, calculated message about identity. This is a man whose entire persona is constructed around being the guy who ends legendary careers, who walks into a match with an icon and walks out having permanently altered their legacy. By deliberately placing Aldis's name in that same sentence as 3 of the most recognizable stars in wrestling history, Gunther is telling you exactly how he has already framed this SummerSlam match in his own head, not as some inconvenient side feud with a suit-wearing authority figure, but as the next clean entry on a very deliberate and very personal list. That is not arrogance manufactured for a promo. That is a man who has been proven right every single time he has made that exact same claim, and that is what makes him genuinely terrifying going into this match. So here are 3 predictions heading into SummerSlam. 1. Gunther dominates from the opening bell all the way through and adds Aldis's name to that retirement list with minimal resistance, sending a message to the entire roster in the process. 2. Aldis, fueled by the exact same desperate energy that made him throw the first punch on SmackDown this week, actually manages to land a legitimate extended offensive run before Gunther's size and experience inevitably overwhelm him in the final stretch. And 3. The swing for the fences scenario. Adam Pearce, now sitting in the GM chair specifically and directly because of this entire feud, finds a reason to get personally involved at SummerSlam, either costing Gunther at a critical moment or turning on Aldis entirely, reshaping SmackDown's entire authority structure in one single night. One of these 3 things will happen. The only question is which one. Nick Aldis gave up his own job to get his hands on Gunther, and Gunther responded by putting him through furniture. So here's what I actually want to know. Does giving up the GM title to fight Gunther make Aldis a legend in the making? Or is he just the most expensive table Gunther has ever broken? Drop your answer below. Next video is going to hit even harder than that powerbomb. This has been Tidal Wave. Ride the wave.